and gents, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be looking at what it's like to own a GTD for nearly 3 years. Now you're probably wondering why I'm making this. Well, the answer's simple. Lots of you drive these cars, whether it's a TDI, whether it's a Mark 7, Golf GTI, Golf R. You always kind of want to see what it's like to have one long term. So we're going to be looking at that. You're probably wondering who we are. Well, we're Whipstars and we review some of the nicest cars in Ireland. This is by far nowhere near the nicest car in Ireland. You got to start somewhere. So this is my GTD. It's a stage 2. I've owned it since 2019. I'm going to go over some things I like, some things I don't like. Overall, what it's like actually owning the car for this long and whether you should do it or not, and whether your circumstances suit a car like this, or maybe your circumstances suit a more powerful car, maybe a better car. So let's get straight into it. So this version is actually a UK spec, 6-speed manual. You got some nice other bits on it. You have some leather seats, you have some black roof inside, which we'll show you now in a second. So it is a manual, 6-speed, 2-litre diesel. Now a lot of people probably, and one of the questions, which we're actually going to be featuring a few of these questions, but to answer the first one, why didn't I get a GTI? Well, the thing about the GTI is, when you're in my circumstance, when you're traveling a lot, when you do a lot of business with the car, you're going on motorways all the time, it just doesn't make sense to get a GTI, right? And hear me out, once you bring one of these to stage 1 or even stage 2, and I've been in a GTI, you'll get the same power, if not even more violent pull when you're in your lower gears as well. So you get that plus great fuel economy. So I'm not trying to bash on GTI owners, they're great cars, especially when you modify them. But this basically does the stock GTI job for me for a fraction of the price it costs to actually run one of them. I'm going to take you on a little journey now to have a look at some of the exterior mods. First thing we have here is the Ferrari 488 style wheels. I think that's what they're called. Pretty much most of the sellers who have these up for sale, 18 and 19 inch versions, tend to call them the 488 style. If you go down a rabbit hole on Google Images, who knows, maybe you'll find even better. This is what I came out with though. We have the Whipstar Blue as the calipers. We only done this recently. They did come stock at red, which is also nice violent colour for the violent old torque this thing has. But look, we have to go branded, lads. We have the Whipstars reg plates. We're also going to be doing these blues soon, cyan blue, once we figure that out. Probably have to open the whole thing up and cause absolute chaos with the car, but look, sure, it's all part of the fun. So first of all, we have the big fuck off size exhaust. You can literally put 2 children in these things if you want to. We know some nice gentleman stickers on the car as well. I forgot to say, it's actually lowered on IBAC Sportline springs. It didn't do the best job. You still have a little bit of gap here, so we might do some spacers, push her out a little bit, give her that, give her the bunda, we do have a nice, I believe it's a Club Sport diffuser. So we have the China spoiler. Believe it's for a Golf R, but guess what? It's on a GTD now, isn't it? I don't know if we're breaking the laws of the golf gods. What can you do? Sure, the job's done. So she is stage 2. She has a 2.5 inch only downpipe. Nice big power flow exhaust from Bishop's out in Dundalk. Look, lads, it does the job. We're actually going to show you what it sounds like as well. It'll be quite impressive. No pops or bangs out of it, but it does have a hard cut limiter and it does satisfy the ears. Comes in stock at 181, 184 brake horsepower. I have mine at about 245 to the wheels. Got 2 dyno tests. One dyno test came out bad, it was only 220, but we did some draggy tests, 0 to 60, without the wheels bouncing like a fucking kid's bouncy castle, it can go 0 to 60 about 5.8, 5.9 seconds. Right, so I'm going to get through a load of your questions. If, for those who don't know, we did an Instagram post asking what you'd like to know about owning the GTD for this long. So the biggest question is actually the fuel economy. So with the fuel economy, if you're absolutely dogging the bollocks out of your car on roads like this, residential areas, not that I encourage that now, you'll probably be getting 20 to 30-ish. If you're on a motorway and you're doing the same, 30, mid-30s, and if you're driving well behaved, you'll most likely all the time get 40. Some cases 50, really rare cases when you're going downhill a lot, 60. I'd ignore anything Volkswagen says. You're never going to get 70 unless you fucking, I don't know, put a pram as the fucking wheels of the car or something. So the next question, did the Golf live up to my expectations? Well, again, as I said, from my circumstances, getting out and about onto the motorways, overtaking people, yes, it's nice. Now, you wouldn't be going racing the thing every day with people. And if you did, you'd still do okay. You'd be beating most cars out there anyway, especially those dirty 520Ds and the Jags. Any old Jag that comes in and out, you can put them to sleep. Hell, I mean, I've even had Mustangs struggle. Not the big 5-litre ones, don't worry. I've kind of had nightmares about them. But the fastback ones, we can beat them up and look good anyway, Another question, interestingly enough, is do I get a lot of looks? Actually, you do. And I thought it was because I do the whole TikTok content and it's localized, so basically everyone knows who you are. While that's the case, you still get people on building sites and now lads who don't even know how to scroll up on a smartphone. They do look because of the sound of it. So it's one of those cars where you can make it loud enough for someone to turn around and just completely cream themselves. So that's a nice part as well, Next question, does she boo? If you have a exhaust leak, it will always do that, and I don't like it. It gives it that agri reputation, which there's nothing wrong with it, but when you're trying to have a nice clean car like that and you're living in a city, you don't want your whole fucking neighborhood knocking on your house thinking you're a farmer looking for potatoes. Okay, so here's some things I like and here's some things I don't like. Number one is obviously the fuel economy. I've been in GTIs, I've been in the Mark 8 GTI, I've been in the Mark 5, remapped ones, you name it, I've been in GTIs. I've seen the fuel gauges go down on those things, so this is a big seller. Probably the biggest selling point at the minute when it comes to, you know, fuel economy. Next thing is taking corners. This thing eats them, chews them like fucking chewing gum. The suspension is amazing. You basically have your individual mode and your eco mode, which kind of loosens your suspension up for when you're driving in residential areas and car parks where you need to use the wheel a lot. And when you're on a motorway, you can put sport mode on and it tightens everything. And it just feels safe. It overall feels like a safe car. Now, I'm sure you've all been in those situations where you're in, you know, a high-speed incident where someone will come into your lane and you'll swerve. If you do that with a loose steering wheel, it's gonna create a lot of uneasiness. When you have a suspension as stiff as this, as stiff as a lamppost, you feel safe. Now the brakes are a huge thing with this car as well. They do feel safe. I've been in loads of different cars. I've remapped cars, and the brakes in this definitely feel like you can, the second you touch them, you stop the car basically. Can never go wrong with that. Torque, another big one. Now, some things that I like from the interior, if you want to come over with me and we'll have a look. So the first thing we really like about the interior is obviously the flat bottom steering wheel. This as well. I know it doesn't say GTI on it or Golf 4, but it looks nice. It represents quality. Now, I know you can't see it right now, but these lights are quite nice at night time. You get some lights that light up here. This shit lights up better than my Future. So the next thing I like is actually this black interior roof. Now, I know a lot of cars come with that mouldy hospital colour, so we're not all about that with this. We're all about premium quality with this vehicle. Now, if you look here as well, I don't know what type of carbon fibre this is. It looks nice. It's decent enough. Styles the car up nicely again. It just gives it that real premium look. Dashboard, not so much. It does kind of feel a little... I've been in Audis, I've been in BMWs. I know what the sus is. So to me, this will kind of feel a bit not so good. So let's actually talk about a few bits that we don't like, right? Because it's only good to be honest, lads. First of all, it's this. When your car's running and if you switch from your sport mode to your eco mode, your auto off happens. So every time you stop the car will just turn off by itself. And it's so annoying. It's quite dangerous as well, to be honest with you. I know you can map it out, but look, I'm lazy and these things need to be just done when I buy the car, you know? So this stuff here as well is actually quite dangerous. If you look here, some of this peeled off. It actually happened when I bought it at 47,000 miles. Cuts the fingers off you. Like I sliced myself a few times because of it. Nothing major now. You'd want to be kind of messing around like I was cleaning the car to actually have it happen to you. But it's still a hazard, lads. If you have the old babbies in the car, you don't want this stuff happening, you know? So in terms of the seats, I know a lot of lads are going to eat the fucking head off me for saying this, but I'm not a big fan of how the bucket seats are with this car. Yes, I know bucket seats are supposed to control you and you're supposed to sit stiff in them, but I don't know. Maybe it's just when you even put your head back. It's a bit rough. That's the word for it, lads. A bit rough now. If you're in Mondello and you're on the track and you're dogging the car around, you're fine. But when you're like me and you just want to have a nice, especially when there's cruise control on, you want to just have a chillax, it doesn't feel so great. Now, I know the Mark 8 feels a bit better, and I know Audi S3s and all these cars feel a bit better. Now, the next thing that absolutely gets on my nerves is the cup holder. So when you put a cup in here, when it's full, it's fine. If you have a plastic coffee cup down when you finish your coffee, it's gonna go all over the place. It won't stay. It'll pop out and it'll just wreck your head. And you know, I know the seats are leather though, so if you do get a nail stain on the seat, you're grand. Right, so let's actually start the car up and have a pop, shall we? Look at me, man. Look at me. What's wrong with me? Beautiful. Right guys, thanks so much for watching. We're still very early in this journey. We are soon going to be featuring more cars, maybe even some of the best in the country. And for those who don't know as well, we have been giving away a lot of stuff and we want to make it our mission because we know a lot of you are learner drivers, novice drivers, or maybe you're just overall having high expenses. So we just gave $1,000 worth in prizes away to somebody. We want to do more of this. So support us, give us a follow, subscribe to us just so we can be more motivated to keep this going. All the best. Why is there some sort of a badger or a fox over there? I am absolutely shitting myself.